Welcome to Forthright, the podcast where we break stigmas through casual conversations. My name is Hannah, I'm your host, and we're on episode 3 already. I still actually can't believe it, but I am so grateful for all the support that I've already had on my first 2 episodes. It feels very real to me now that I've finally brought my little passion project out to the world, and I just have been loving hearing all your feedback. And yeah, thank you again to everyone that has downloaded and given me a 5-star rating and listened and shared it and all that. Thank you so much. So today's episode, I sort of want to just continue the conversation from last week's episode where I shared about my eating disorder. And today I kind of want to just combine, 2 little segments into one episode. And today I want to talk about body image as well as the long-term effects of dieting. So I have recently shared on my Instagram that I have started hormone replacement therapy, and that is from issues that have stemmed from my eating disorder and my years of malnourishing my body. And yeah, I also just want to talk about body image in general. I think we're only human. We all have bad body image days, and I kind of want to just talk on my experience and how that's body image has affected me and my relationship with my body and how I perceive my body and how other people perceive my body, and kind of just talk about things that I've learned and realized through my years of therapy and recovery, and just from being in different shapes and sizes of bodies and all that. And like everything with this podcast, I'm not coming with solutions and answers. I'm basically just going to talk about my experience, and I'm just going to talk about things just on a personal level and things I've experienced and things that have helped me. It might be helpful to you, it might not. It might just be comforting to know that things you're thinking and feeling are the same as me. And then as well with the long-term effects of dieting and the long-term health issues that have stemmed from my eating disorder, and that sort of touches on just chronic and invisible illnesses of any kind. So you might have a chronic or invisible illness that has not stemmed as a result of an eating disorder. I kind of just want to touch on that. And so I guess I'm going to just stop babbling about with this intro and get into it. So I want to start off and just talk about body image in general. So I think it's totally normal to have bad body image days, but it's not normal for bad body image to consume your thoughts and dictate your actions and your diet. And I know everyone says this, but you seriously cannot compare your body to someone else's. We're all built differently, and no 2 bodies will ever look the same. You could eat the exact same thing and do the exact same exercise as someone else, and your body still will not look like them. And I think we kind of just need to accept that. I feel like we try so often to try to change our bodies or follow what other people do to look like them, but it's just not going to happen. And we need to get that out of our head and really learn that everybody is different, and our bodies all have different needs and function in different ways, and our bodies will never look like someone else's because we're all built so differently. And I think it's also so important for us to recognize that our bodies are purely just vessels that allow us to experience life. So this is where body neutrality comes into it. So instead of thinking about what our bodies look like, let's focus on what our bodies allow us to do, what our bodies were built for. This obviously isn't going to apply for everyone. I know there are circumstances, but for the majority of people, our bodies allow us just to walk from A to B, to get places. And as I said, not everyone's body can do that. And I think that's even more a reason to be grateful for our bodies. They transport us physically to places, and we have hands that allow us, we can make food, we can hold objects, we can pat our dog, we can give someone a hug. Like, our bodies internally are working so damn hard every day just to keep us alive. So I think we really need to be kinder to our bodies. And I feel like too, this should go without saying, but something that really, really helped for me is to unfollow people that make you feel bad about yourself. If you are following someone on Instagram, for example, and if every time you look at them, if you get the inclination to exercise or to restrict your diet, just unfollow them. I know it's easier said than done, and it's strange that it is so difficult to unfollow these people, but I know there were specific people, I would look at them and it was not even at the forefront of my mind, but it was subconsciously made me feel like I would look at someone's body and I'm like, I need to go to the gym, I want to go to the gym. and it was because I wanted to change my body to look like them, or it was just made me feel bad about how I looked. So just unfollow these people, and it actually makes the biggest difference to yourself. And also keeping in mind that not everything you see online is real, unfortunately. So many people still today will, if they're not completely editing and face tuning their bodies, they're posing and distorting their bodies to look a different way. And you can't compare your relaxed body to a flexed and distorted and manipulated shape of a body that's possibly then been edited on top of that. You can't compare it. And I think, a lot of the time these bodies, if you're looking at just an image of someone online, it's not always, there are obviously exceptions, but it's often not an accurate representation of what living, breathing, moving, active bodies look like. So coming off that, find people that look like you, find people that have a similar body to you, whether it's online or in real life. Be observant, not in like a creepy, pervy way, but just be observant of the bodies that are in real life, of the bodies that you see around you. So when it's online, follow more people that look like you, that have the same body as you. And when you're in public, like, go to the beach and seriously just look at bodies and realize that they're little tiny things you nitpick your body apart about. Like, so many other bodies have that too. And I often find, and again for me anyway, viewing it on someone else, it didn't bother me, and I didn't think anything negative or positive towards it, because I'm like, well, that's just a part of a body, whether it's your stomach's not completely flat. Look, again, get out in the real world and look at real people's bodies and whose stomach actually is. And sure, it's only a very, very small percentage, because just most people, and for biological women as well, it is really, really hard to have a completely flat stomach. For me as well, I have a really short torso, so even when I was at my lowest weight, my stomach still wasn't completely flat, because we have a little thing called organs in us that have to go somewhere. Organs, and for, as I said, biological women, we have uteruses that need to have, actually having that little bit of extra fat on them keeps us healthy. And also to think about the people you love in your life. Think about your best friend, your closest family members. Think about them. Think about what you love about them, and does it have anything to do with how they look? Because hopefully the answer is no. Hopefully the people you love most in your life is hopefully you just love them because they're an amazing person. They make you happy. They're fun to be around. And it's not because I love them because they have a six-pack. And jumping off this, I feel like this whole episode is going to just be me segueing from different topics, but that's okay. It's all relevant. I kind of want to have not a rant as such, but a conversation about thin privilege, because I'm obviously aware that I'm saying all this from a socially acceptable body. I am thin, and I understand that my experience is different from people of larger body sizes. But I think as well, something that really bothers me is when people think that people in straight size bodies can't have insecurities. I have had, over my years of sharing myself online or sharing insecurities online, people telling me that I have no right to be insecure because I'm thin. And I think that is thin shaming, and that is doing the opposite of what we're wanting, because people saying that is still portraying the idea that smaller or thinner is better, and it's not. I think it's so wrong to tell someone or to make someone think that they have no right to be insecure, because the reality is we all have insecurities, and our insecurities, they suck, but they are valid. We are allowed to feel insecure. And I think too, being in a straight size body, and as I said, I have my insecurities, and I feel like at times I often actually hate my body. And this is where I get so, confused. I really struggle with the whole body neutrality movement, because we project this idea about, and like I mentioned just at the start of this episode, to love our bodies not for what they look like, for what they do. And this is where it comes into chronic illnesses, because I try so hard to not focus on what my body looks like. I try to appreciate it for everything else, but it's so hard to love an ill body. I focus on what it looks like, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't love that, or I don't love it all the time, so let's again focus on what it does. But it's so hard to appreciate that when I feel like my body's not functioning properly, when I'm so sick, I'm in so much pain every single day, and it really is hard to love my body. So I'm at a place now where I feel like I need to just try to respect my body. If all I can do, I think it's not realistic to project the idea that we will love our bodies 100% of the time, but I think we can and we should respect our bodies 100% of the time. Respect our minds, respect our bodies. And I think too, it's just about knowing that we are worthy of love, we are worthy of respect, no matter what our bodies look like. I get really frustrated, and again, only speaking from my experience in a thin body, but with the whole fat acceptance movement, and when people in larger bodies promote the fat acceptance movement, and people will come at them and say, but that's not healthy, that's not healthy. But I think this whole thing with body image and body positivity, it's not about a healthy body, because what if someone's in a straight size body and they're not healthy for other reasons? We don't shame them. Like, I think if somebody is overweight and in a large body and they're promoting, I guess, what people are saying, fat acceptance. And I think, with saying about loving your body, even if it is a larger size, it's got nothing to do. No one ever mentioned anything about being healthy. It's about no matter what size, you still deserve love and respect, whether you're quote unquote fat, whether you're thin, whether you're healthy, whether you're not. We are all human beings. And if we are good, decent individuals, we deserve love and respect. And I think it's as simple as that. And then going back to the idea of thin shaming, I think people think that it's okay to thin shame because thin is perceived as the ideal standard size. And I think that is just, as I said before, it's undoing the whole body positivity thing, because thin shaming is still implying, it's still coming from a place of thinking that thin is better. And we're just focusing so much on the sides, and I think it's just so harmful. I know it's harmful because I've lived it, I've witnessed it. And like for me with my body, I still get so caught up. As I said, I'm thin, but I still have my insecurities. When I was sick, I lost a lot of weight in a very short amount of time, and that's left me with a lot of loose skin that I do get really insecure about. And I understand though, for me, that I can pose in certain ways or whatever to make the, I guess, appearance of my loose skin disappear. And obviously that is, for lack of a better term, a privilege that not all people can hide. So I'm aware of that. But still coming at me and saying that I can't have these insecurities is shaming, and it's not okay. And then, as I was saying before too, with trying to love my body when it's an ill body, because that's gonna be where I try to hopefully do a smooth transition segue into, I guess, the next sort of little segment that I want to talk about today. And it is going on from the long-term impacts of dieting. So people will try so hard to be thin and the consequences that come from that. And again, I'm just sharing from my experience. And for me, it started, I just wanted to lose a little bit of weight because I was influenced. I would see bodies and people around me, and I felt like my body was not okay. So I just wanted to lose a little bit of weight so that I could fit into society's standards. And it led to me developing an eating disorder and nearly losing my life. It led to me having an awful relationship with food for years. It led me having to do years of therapy to try to heal and reverse all this damage that had been done. And now I'm fully recovered from my eating disorder, but I've now got to deal with the long-term impacts of an eating disorder. So when I had my eating disorder, I lost a lot of weight, and a very common side effect of losing a lot of weight, whether it be from an eating disorder or not, is losing a period. So this is due to low body fat, and basically your body just needs to preserve what little other energy it has for more important things like keeping your heart beating. So low body weight really disrupts hormones because it's just not your body's first priority to function. So my last period was in April 2017, so over 7 years ago. And that's 7 years of very, very low hormones, and hormones support bone density. So low hormones equals low bone density, which equals osteopenia, which for me then leads to osteoporosis. So this never even crossed my mind when I just wanted to lose a few kilos. I had my first bone density scan in 2019, which was 2.5 years after my last period. And it was then that I found out I had osteopenia, which is the level before osteoporosis. I had my next bone density scan in 2022, which was after 5 years without a period. And I was, I think, 25 at the time. And that's when I found out that I had osteoporosis. So even though I had been recovered from my eating disorder, the damage was still done. And since then, I've been checking in with my doctor, doing regular blood tests, monitoring my hormones, and my hormone levels are at a premenopausal level. And it's literally like I feel like I'm in an old person's body because it's just my bones are bad, my hormones are bad, and having low hormones affects so many other things as well. And the main thing that's really an issue for me is, and this is most likely, it's not proven, but it's sort of through process of elimination from all my other like tests and scans that I've had, my low hormones have really affected my circulation in my body. So I have really, really poor circulation, mainly in my hands and feet, but also my legs. And that gets really worse in winter when it's cold. And we are in winter now. So winter is a really, really tough time for me because last year was the first year that was sort of really bad. And now we're like a month into winter and I'm really, really struggling because I have this pain from poor circulation. My fingers cramp up, I lose feeling in my feet, my legs cramp up as well. I get to the point I can't walk because I have no circulation and I'm in so much pain from the cold. And I am very, very sensitive to the cold, and I'm talking like I always have to wear so many layers, but it's the type of thing, it's an internal coldness. I could be wearing so many layers and still be cold. I will literally have tights on with tracksuits over the top. I will have a long sleeve top with a jumper and a big jacket, dressing gown, blankets. I'll have a hot water bottle up my back, a wheat bag up my front. I will have everything. I will be sitting in front of my parents' fireplace and still be cold and painfully cold, like I'm sitting in an ice bath cold, and nothing will warm me up. And it gets to the point where I will boil the kettle and I will be sculling boiling water just to try to warm me up. And that's obviously not okay. And that is just because the blood's not circulating. And as I said, my doctor believes that's most likely from my low hormones because I've been tested for everything else she thought it could be, and everything else is coming back fine. And that's so tough because, we're going into winter now. I really, really struggle. I hate winter just because I'm in so much pain from being cold. My body literally freezes to the point where I can't move. Even though now I'm at a healthy weight and I've recovered from an eating disorder and I'm nourishing my body, the damage has still been done. And again, as I said, my doctor has done so many tests, and the only marker of anything of any concern is my hormone levels. Everything else is fine. So we've eliminated so many other issues and possibilities of what could be going on with my body. So that leads to now I'm 27 years old and I have just started hormone replacement therapy, which is most often people will think of that and they think it's for perimenopausal women. And sure, that's the majority, but anyone can have bad hormones, bad bones and stuff. So I've started literally just over a week ago on hormone replacement therapy to just really try to just get these hormones in to hopefully repair damage, to hopefully get my period back, to hopefully fix all these issues that having low hormones has brought me. So I'm on the estrogen gel, and I am yet to start with the progesterone tablet. So I'm putting the gel on my leg every single day. And then after 2 weeks, I take progesterone tablets 2 a day for 2 weeks. And so I haven't started the progesterone yet. That's how new I am on the hormone replacement therapy. But I'm just hoping that this is going to fix so many things for me and make me feel so much better. And I feel like I've probably missed out on so many things. I like to really try to talk as to the point as I can without going off on tangents, which I still feel like I've done. So maybe I'll need to do another episode with a Q&A if you want more specific information. I kind of just wanted to cover a lot in this sort of episode because I feel like it's all related, it's all connected. I just think we need to get the idea out of our head of, like, for example, again, for me, I'm only speaking from my experiences. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but like I am premenopausal according to my blood work, and I have osteoporosis. And I think when you initially picture what that person would look like, I'm sure you're picturing an older woman. But on the outside, I appear to be a healthy 27-year-old, but I have all this going on inside of me. I have all this pain that I'm dealing with and all this stuff that's going on internally that you can't see. And that's where it comes in with people with invisible illnesses. I feel like that's where it's really hard for people to talk about and share because it's not obvious to people, and it can be really hard to talk about, it can be really vulnerable. So it's trying to function as best as you can while you're suffering so much, and it's so hard. And I can just only imagine for people with much more severe invisible illnesses how difficult it is, especially, as I said, if you can't speak about it. And I mean, not everyone is as bluntly open about what they're going through as I am, so it can be really hard to try to just fit in and function in society when you have so much you're dealing with. And my heart really goes out to anyone that has it so much tougher than I do, because it's tough. And that's what, for me, I try to show up to work and do my job, but I'm in so much pain. And that's something people, it's just hard for them to understand, because you don't think that by looking at me. So I basically kind of just, again, want to just share my story to get conversations started, to just break stigmas. And I'm not trying to be the face of osteoporosis, but I'm sharing that I'm a young female and I have it. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I do. And that's the whole thing with invisible illnesses. And that's the whole thing as well. Circling back to the beginning with body image, people online, they might look at me or anyone and they might want their body. Like, again, I'm just using myself for an example. Someone could see a picture of me or whatever that I post online, and they might be envious and wish they had my body, but they don't know what this body is going through, what it feels like to live in this body. So that's the same, like anyone that you're looking at online. I mean, obviously for me, I share what I'm going through, but you might look at someone and really wish you had their body, but you don't know what their body is going through. You don't know what they're doing to achieve that body. You don't know what's going on mentally with them. You don't know what's going on physically with them. So again, it's like, yeah, you might want my body from what it looks like, but I don't think anyone would want my body for what it feels like and what I'm now going through, even after I've kicked this eating disorder. And again, everything now that I'm experiencing is I literally just wanted to lose a few kilos. That's all. And now I'm dealing with so much, and I can't help but almost like blame myself, because not that I chose this, but it's just, I feel like I did choose it because it was my actions that led me here. And some people live such a healthy life and have such a healthy lifestyle and get terrible illnesses that are completely out of their control. And I feel like to some extent, well, I brought this on myself, and I need to shift that mindset, because it's not helpful. It's not going to change anything. It's only going to make me feel worse about myself. I know, but I need to practice what I preach and be kinder to myself. But it's just, been really hard to try to accept my body for everything it is when it feels so broken. But that's where I think it's just so important if we just respect our bodies, because at the end of the day, no matter, like, my body's doing its best to keep me alive, to keep me going. My body is still here through everything I've put it through. My body is still here fighting for me, and I need to respect that. So I think that's sort of everything I wanted to cover. As I said, possibly we'll need to do a Q&A on top of this for relevant information that I might have left out, because I've probably left out so much that I could have talked about. But let me know if there's anything more specific you want me to talk about. And it wouldn't be ending an episode of Forthright without sharing one of my Hannah's hot tips. And today, so this is something I've actually been doing this for years now. So I'm a pajama person. I sleep in pajamas. I love pajamas. I just love it. My thing though is in winter, so many pajama pants, flannelette pants, they're loose and they are so uncomfortable to sleep in. But I don't want to sleep in shorts because it's cold. And as this episode is made very clear, I'm very sensitive to the cold. So I am like, well, no, I want long pants that are going to be comfortable to sleep in. And I don't know too if this is like an autism thing, that I'm so, like, I have a lot of sensory issues, but I don't want my pants like moving around or bunching up or whatever. So my hot tip is I go to just Kmart and I buy just the cheap, I think they're like the $6, $8 or whatever leggings. Just, they're not the activewear ones. They're just plain cotton, soft, really basic ones. I get them. And then I also get at Kmart over just the plain long sleeve tops, whatever, just the tight, basic long sleeve tops. And I sleep in them and I'm so warm and I'm so comfortable. It's like I can move my legs throughout the night. Nothing's riding up or twisting around. And it is so comfortable. It may not be like cute pajamas, but I love it. Like before I go to bed, I just put a big jumper on over it. And then when I go to bed, I take my jumper off, but I've got my tight long sleeve, my like leggings, and it is so comfortable to sleep in. And it's just a game changer. I can't I can't wear any pants that are not like skin tight to bed, and it's just, I cannot recommend it enough. It is affordable, it's comfortable, it's just, I think this is probably the best thing I'm ever going to recommend. So definitely get on it now and thank me later. Okay, so that is where I am going to wrap up episode 3 of Forthright. And I would really appreciate it if you haven't already to make sure you're following the show. So every time a new episode comes out, which is every week, it will automatically download into your podcast feed. And please give it a 5-star rating. Leave a review if you're feeling kind as well, because that will just help push it out to more people. And I just really I have in my mind envisioning where I want to take this podcast. I have so many big things that I want to come from this. And yeah, so just by you just listening to it is already doing so much. But yeah, if you feel like you want to give it a 5-star rating and leave a review, that would also be very appreciated. And I will talk to you next week for episode 4. And yeah, until then, have an amazing week.